There was a great war, long before we were born. Our gallant soldiers fought from the Yukon to the Yangtze. We were winning, too. And then those damn Reds launched. We barely got our birds up. But at least it knocked the damn Red Menace back into the Stone Age. You see, we had planned ahead. We were ready.
War never changes. The Enclave is a paramilitary organization and quasi-state originating from the pre-war American deep state, consisting of high-ranking political, military, and corporate figures. It claims to be the direct continuation of the United States and its government, despite seizing power by subverting continuity of government protocols and murdering non-Enclave government survivors to continue the war against communism. Enclave ideology eventually evolved into pseudoscientific racism and social Darwinism, deeming all non-Enclave humans to be inferior, near-human mutants to be exterminated. The resulting genocide to create a racially pure state of true humans, its authoritarian structure, and numerous other atrocities, including slavery, human experimentation, and unprovoked attacks on American citizens, resulted in the Enclave being seen by the rest of humanity and even its former members as a fascist remnant of the pre-war government, or simply the rich old bastards who didn't want to give up their power. In the Enclave, the president is elected by the people without a term limit. The president is assisted by a vice president, forming the executive branch of government. The Enclave also has a Congress, but there is no mention of a judicial branch in their government structure. Some governmental agencies in the Enclave have been reformed, like the Atomic Energy Commission, which oversees the nuclear reactor on the oil rig. In its heyday, the Enclave society was marked by secrecy, surveillance, and conformity, especially under President Richardson's rule. Even the slightest hint of discontent was viewed as disloyalty, leading to permanent reassignment to mainland duties instead of the oil rig. The situation was different on the mainland, where dissent could be more openly expressed and tolerated to a certain extent. However, despite these differences, the Enclave maintained control over both its oil rig base and mainland operations, ensuring continuity in their governance. All members were expected to be able to produce identification papers at a moment's notice, and summary execution authorized at the commanding officer's discretion without the need for court-martial. If they so decided, they could decide to execute the offender on the spot, for example, for disobeying a direct order. But even carelessness and breaking delicate equipment could easily lead to facing the firing squad. The atrocities were packaged as patriotic necessity, or rather, jingoism, emphasized by the ever-present patriotic anthems and iconography. For example, both Richardson's and Eden's speeches were preceded by a variety of anthems. Though most of the Enclave were conformists, dissension was present. While in Appalachia this led to a civil war and its extinction, in New California there were more outlets. The opening of Navarro and mainland operations allowed dissenters to simply desert its ranks and blend in with the wasteland population, benefiting from ignorance. The Enclave claims to be the direct continuation of the pre-war United States of America, but ignores the duties and laws of the state in favor of entrenching its own power. Standard protocols implemented during the Great War included the murder of all non-Enclave personnel at facilities it controlled, such as elected members of Congress, not part of the organization at CB02. Enclave members weren't safe from each other either, as at the same location, refusal to fall in behind Thomas Eckhart resulted in a purge through mass gassing. Eckhart was determined to eradicate communism and its supporters through any means necessary, including mutation experiments that rendered subjects questionably human and releasing mutants and hostile robots against American citizens, to trick the AALS to raise DEFCON and gain access to the nuclear silos. This promise was used to recruit soldiers to the Enclave banner, promising vengeance for the losses sustained in the Great War. The Sino-American War continued in the ranks of the Enclave, but morale suffered, leading General Ellen Santiago to question whether eradicating communism and vengeance justified tormenting and killing American survivors, on top of the murders of congressmen and fellow Enclave members. The disagreement eventually spiraled into a civil war, extinguishing the Enclave in Appalachia around early 2085. The Enclave faction on the opposite end of the continent, centered around the last president of the United States, survived. The plans to eradicate communism through genocide evolved into a plan to exterminate all non-Enclave humans. The Enclave used pseudo-scientific justifications, declaring that subtle alterations in DNA of humans outside the Enclave make them near-human mutants who must be exterminated to maintain the integrity of the human race. This position was adopted around 2140, with the Enclave styling itself the last remaining bastion of humanity on Earth, and the only salvation of the human race. The true extent of the Enclave is unknown, the strongest concentration of their forces historically being New California and capital Wasteland. With an isolated force making use of the White Spring Bunker in Appalachia, in general, the great plans of continuing the war against China from the safety of their bunkers were ruined by communication breakdowns and isolation. However, enough preparation took place to ensure that Enclave bases make use of the best security technologies available in 2077. Force fields are common passive defenses, while plasma turrets and autocannons are common stationary defensive emplacements. Enclave patrols are a common defensive measure, including anywhere between 3 and 5 troopers armed with high-powered weapons. Their presence strikes fear into the hearts of wastelanders, a reminder of the power and advanced technology still possessed by the Enclave. And despite their sophisticated defenses, the Enclave's isolation and dwindling numbers make them vulnerable to the unpredictable dangers of the post-apocalyptic world. The original United States Secret Service was an agency under the Treasury Department, with at least one unit known to have survived the war as part of the detachment sent to guard Vault 79. The Enclave's Secret Service was unrelated, reformed into personal security detail for the president, always present in the president's vicinity. The most infamous of Secret Service men was Frank Horrigan, former presidential bodyguard who after a tour at the Mariposa excavation became exposed to FEV, then further altered by the chemical core, making him a genetically modified, cybernetic machine of death, used against various priority targets in the wasteland, all the while remaining subordinated to the president. As Frank Horrigan carried out his missions with ruthless efficiency, the wasteland trembled at the mere mention of his name. His loyalty remained unwavering, his actions a testament to the power and influence of the Enclave.
You've gotten a lot farther than you should have, but then you haven't met Frank Horrigan either. Your ride's over, Mutie. Time to die.
The Enclave's contempt for wastelanders resulted in low operational security, allowing Metzger of the Den Slavers to tap into their radio communications. Wright children in New Reno were also aware of the exchanges, having seen their landings, while Melchior Jr. witnessed the abduction of his father. Vertibirds were a common sight flying over Redding and San Francisco, and one even crashed in the Klamath Canyon following a rotor malfunction. The bodies of the pilots were not recovered, and the vertibird was left to the wasteland. Underestimating the wasteland attracted the attention of the Brotherhood of Steel, which activated a network of outposts in the Den, the NCR, and San Francisco to monitor its activities and keep watch. The intelligence demonstrated deep involvement in the local drug trade, gun running, slavery, all in service to a higher purpose. The Brotherhood was unable to determine, but learned enough to seek ways to counter the threat the Enclave posed. Beyond atrocities, the Enclave has been also polluting the coasts of Southern California and Mexico, causing irreversible ecological damage. After the destruction of the oil rig, the Enclave fled New California. The NCR and the Brotherhood learned of the genocidal plans of the organization, declaring the Enclave a criminal organization. Any membership in the organization is grounds for arrest, trial as a war criminal, and life imprisonment. The situation changed when the Enclave retreated to the capital wasteland. Following the seizure of the Purifier, Enclave troops established a strong presence in the region circa 2277. maintaining a network of constituency enforcement points. Colonel Autumn's plans for Project Purity were similar to the Brotherhood of Steel. He wanted to use the purifier to distribute water to the masses and create a power base for the Enclave, offering supplies, security, and a plan for the future. He disagreed with Eden's approach, which entailed the use of modified FEV to contaminate the purifier and kill anyone and anything with a hint of mutation. It is unclear how the Enclave was supposed to win the hearts and minds of the population. While propaganda aired on Enclave radio stated their mission was aiding wastelanders, the troops were ordered to first carry out mandatory genetic screening. The test would be followed by immediate execution if they failed to meet genetic standards. It is unclear who issued the orders. While Eden, the sentient Zex, sought the extermination of mutations, Autumn was the head of the Enclave military forces and has never countermanded Eden's orders to maintain the chain of command and protect the presidency. At the same time, he appeared to consider wastelanders the American people, further complicating responsibility. Regardless of who issued the genocidal orders, a large-scale deployment of their forces to establish territorial control was an unprecedented change. Before the loss of the oil rig, the Enclave focused on covert operations, maintaining a low profile. The Brotherhood, owing to the accumulated knowledge and intel, quickly identified that the purposes of this network were just as sinister as before. The resulting Brotherhood-Enclave war resulted in the near-total destruction of the Enclave, fall of Adams Air Force Base to the Brotherhood, and the establishment of Brotherhood supremacy in the East. The Pridwin was, in fact, constructed at the former base. Only 10 years later, the Enclave became a footnote in history, with its former members integrating in society. Grand Zealot Richter is one example, as a member of the Children of Adam on the island. Whether the Enclave still exists and in what capacity is unknown, or what Colonel Autumn meant when he stated the Enclave is at the height of its power, at the end of the battle for the Purifier. No matter who you ask, it would appear the Enclave is a chapter in the wasteland best forgotten and laid to rest. This concludes the story of the Enclave's rise and fall, marking an end to their chapter in the history of the wasteland. The Enclave, once a symbol of power and authority, now fades into obscurity, leaving behind a legacy of conflict and change in the East. There are many factions in the wasteland of Fallout. Although both wear power armor, the Brotherhood of Steel have their own creed and purposes. Next time we explore this unique faction and what sets them apart from the rest. From their strict hierarchy to their unwavering dedication to collecting technology, the Brotherhood of Steel is more than just a group of armored warriors. Thank you for tuning in for our Fallout series. Be sure to continue to join us as we journey through the wasteland one chronicle at a time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more thrilling adventures and exciting quests in the world of Fallout. Your support means everything to us as we continue to explore the depths of this post-apocalyptic universe.